cannot buy. Send me love that you cannot mix. One is the joy that you cannot waste, and the other one price that you cannot fix. This is the peace that you cannot buy. Finding a way where you cannot see. Man with this system you cannot break. I need to find release. But behind my mind it runs. All these thoughts are governing. Fighting to give up my babe. Fighting to be on my lane. My mind running to the other side. When it's time to leave my life, then it tries to take me out. Tell you what I need right here.
Welcome, everyone. This is day one of the 9th annual Edutainment Summit by R.I.S.E Edutainment, none other. My name is Elle DeLeon. I am going to be the moderator for today's panel. And today we're starting out our Edutainment Summit with the women who are in art business. So we have our panelists today with us. I'm going to get started just to let y'all know about some things that are happening with the summit before we get into this fabulous panel. And I'm going to start out also with a land acknowledgement. So we just want to acknowledge the land that we are on. We acknowledge that the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississauga of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, and the Haudenosaunee and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. I'm going to do one more land acknowledgement for Scarborough, where we started. The land I am standing on today is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people, and is now home to many diverse First Nation, Inuit, and Métis people. I also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by the Treaty 13 signed with the Mississaugas of the Credit and the Williams Treaty signed with the multiple Mississaugas and Chippewa bands. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for being here. We give thanks for this day. It's been a long time coming. Although we are starting out virtual with our summit, we do have some in-person events happening, and we're very excited because it's been about 2 years since that has happened. So we also want to acknowledge all of the folks that are out there on YouTube right now. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to everyone that is in the Zoom right now. You are now watching day one of the Edutainment Summit with myself, Elle DeLeon, and we are now about to get into the Women in Art Business panel. So just to give you a little bit of context about what the Edutainment Summit is about and what this panel is about. So as rich as the culture of music and the arts is here in Toronto, only a handful really make it in their field of work. Despite our diversity here in the city, there are gatekeepers that hold artists back from opportunities that can help them reach the next level. Jasmine Swimmer, Chantel, and Dynasty have all overcome their own share of adversity in life and in the business of art. They've accomplished a lot with a little, creating their own lane when there wasn't one. Each of them has dabbled in a different aspect of the art business and have found success and they can feel proud of. Despite the challenges, they're striving to reach their goals beyond the stage and behind the screens of the arts and entertainment industry. We love learning about the careers of powerful women running businesses in the arts, but did you know that less than 20% of the business founders in all sectors across the world are female? So we believe that women should empower one another, especially when embarking on this journey to start a business that can be so scary and so daunting. At this panel, we want to speak to these three of our favorite, actually, artsy businesswomen to learn about their journeys, their businesses, and get some advice, some gems. I told y'all gems will be dropped today. That is what we call advice around here. So when those gems are dropped, make sure you have your notepads out. Today is going to be a monumental and iconic evening. I just feel it. So let's get into this. Let's talk to these female entrepreneurs. All right, so we're going to start out today. I'm going to give you a little bit of how we're going to run this panel. We're going to go into some questions that you have dropped us before this panel started. And then we're going to get some questions from the audience. So if we don't ask the question that you really want to know, you can start dropping those questions in the chat, in YouTube, or in Zoom, and we will get our moderators, Vanessa and Anastasia, to be able to field those questions to me, and I will read them live to our fabulous females who are on our panel today. All right. I feel like I've said a mouthful already, and we're only about 10 minutes in. All right. So we're going to get right into this. I'm going to start out with asking this question to all of our fabulous females today. Who are you, and what is your art business about? So we're going to get started. I'll pick an order right now. I'm going to pick, let's start out with Jasmine. Then we'll go to Dynasty, and then we will hit up Chantel. Who are you, and what is your art business about?
Cool. Hi, everyone. I'm super glad to be here. My name is Jasmine Swimmer. I call myself a serial entrepreneur. I have a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, and putting them into a business form, I created Black Girls NFT, which is a art tech agency, and we focus on educating Black and Indigenous youth in skills like 2D, 3D animation, and digital murals, and get them working on contracts with big corporations or government bodies, and getting them into the creative tech field. So that's a bit about me.
Love it, love it. Let's go over to Dynasty. Let them know about you and your art business.
Well, go on, everybody. Well, go on. So my name is Dynasty, and I do a few things. So first off, I'm a professional entertainer, singer, rapper, dancer, actor. I make a lot of funny skits online, been viral a few times, you know what I'm saying? And I'm also a financial security advisor as well. And I help people build generational wealth. I like to focus on artists and entrepreneurs because, you know, our income goes up and down a little bit all over the place, but finding a way to like bring that together so that we can actually create generational wealth just like everyone else is something that I enjoy doing.
I love it. I love it. Y'all, I'm already telling you, you not see, the gems will be dropped. Chantel, close us out. Let us know about you and your art business.
Thank you so much for having me. So my name is Chantel Kwao, and I'm the CEO of CQ Business Consulting, Inc. And I don't have an art business per se, but in my business, we help artists to understand that what they produce in their craft, whether it is poetry, visual art, or music, that it is a business and it adheres to the principles of business. And we also help them to create a pitch deck to present to potential clients and investors. And I love when they have all of this together and, you know, just see their eyes light up when they realize, okay, I can do this, and really just encourage them to go out there and create that business for themselves.
Love it, love it, love it. Yes, Anastasia says we have some talented women in the house today, and we do. And I also just want to throw my hat in the ring here because, you know, what qualifies me to talk to these fabulous ladies. So my art business, one of them, you may know me from R.I.S.E. I am the program director here, but I did start out as an audience member, someone who's much like the people that are out in our audience today, an emerging artist who was looking for a platform. And I wish, you know, 10 years ago when we started because we didn't have people like this to be able to speak to. So that is why we're here today. Some of the people that are here, like Dynasty, has been at R.I.S.E. from day one, and has seen us grow and has grown because of the platform that R.I.S.E. has built, and now has built her own platform. So these are the kind of things that we are going to be talking about today. And I'm excited to be here today to share my knowledge, but also just to facilitate the process of all of you gathering knowledge from these fabulous females. All right. So make sure you have those questions ready. Let's get into this. So what I want to do before we jump right into like the business of art, I want to do something fun. So I'm just asking y'all to do, this is an icebreaker or a game that we play in our meetings at R.I.S.E. when we're planning all of these events. So we want to always start out and make sure that we're all on the level and maybe get people to know a little bit about you. So I'm going to ask all of you ladies to choose a separate number between 48 to 100. So this is our like warm-up game. It's called 48 to 100 because there's that many questions. Not that creative, but the questions are. So let us know what's your number between 48 to 100, and then I will read that question. People will find out more about you. So let me know your question, Jasmine, your number.
77.
Let's go. 77. Okay. So teleportation or flying?
Oh, shoot.
I know this is tough. This is tough. And people at home, help us out. You can let us know teleportation or flying. We want to know about you too.
I'm going to say teleportation simply because I love travel. So, and I'm not a big fan of flying, but if I could teleport from one place to the other in like a millisecond, that'd be awesome.
I love it. Yes. Teleportation is a must. Like in a blink of an eye, I'm just in the next place. Let's go. All right. So Dynasty, tell me your number between 48 to 100. Chantel, you're on deck.
49.
Okay, let's go to the top. I want to know this one about you. When you die, what do you want to be remembered for? Or as Randell would say, what do you want that dash to represent between when you were born and when you pass away?
I want to be remembered for how far I came from and how many odds I like surpassed and I defeated throughout my lifetime. Like
Yes.
I've already defied so many odds that I want to listen. I have so many more I want to do. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you so much. And yes, and you will all get to hear more about Dynasty story. Honestly, you're so inspiring. I can't wait for everybody to know more about you. Chantel, what is your number between 48 to 100?
99.
Yes, I like it. Okay, down to the bottom. Ooh, what other languages other than English do you know how to speak? And if you don't, what other language would you want to know how to speak?
Ooh, so I'm not fluent in any other language but English, but I have formally taken French and Italian.
Oh, very, very nice. I only know oui. I wanted to say something really cool, but I know nothing in Italian yet. That stays in my brain, but that's a beautiful language. So come on, y'all. Make sure you are. Yes, is anyone else in the house bilingual? Let us know what languages are out there tonight. Who's representing where? Okay. So now that we got some of the ice broken, we're going to get back to our more serious questions. And, the reason why many of us are here today, we want to know, first of all, what motivated you now that we kind of know what your art business is about or the business that you do and how it connects to art. What motivated you to start your own business? Let's start out with Chantel, and then we'll go to Dynasty and then Jasmine.
Sure. So for me, what motivated me to start my own business was I was working a traditional job in the public sector. And after being there for numerous years, I felt stuck and being told that I could only go so far in an organization, or I had to wait to gather a certain amount of seniority before I can apply for positions that I qualify for right now. And I don't think I had 20 years to sit around waiting to qualify to make, I don't know, an extra $5, $10 an hour. So at that moment, I said to myself, I want to take my life into my own hands, my career into my own hands, my fate into my own hands. And I decided to leave my job and start my own business. I can always get a job, but I didn't want to live with the regret on not taking that chance on myself.
Yes, love that. I'm sure a lot of people can relate to not being able to wait, for an extra $5 an hour. That's a great motivator. So I'd love to hear from Jasmine, did I say? Or did I say Dynasty? Yes, I did. Dynasty and then Jasmine.
So I knew that I wanted to be an artist, like a professional artist as my main go-to thing since I was a little kid, and I've always pursued that. I didn't actually become a business until I learned about tax write-offs. That's what actually inspired me to take it seriously, because I was like, hold on, wait, wait, I can get money back for all the stuff that I spend on as an artist? What? So the money motivated me to to get the business together.
And that's real. That's real. Like, come on, they show us like how much money, people who perform can make. I am very attracted to that salary. So I get that. What about for you, Jasmine?
For me, I think I'm a professional, like looking for holes in the market type of person. And for me, it was falling in love with NFTs and just doing a lot of research on NFTs, cryptocurrency, and things I was already interested in already. And seeing the lack of diversity and representation really bugged me. And I was like, I can do this. Like, I know so many people that could do this. And that was what kind of pushed me to not only look at, wow, this is a great opportunity and investment, but also this could change a lot of people's lives if they just had the skills to enter the tech industry and economically change their situation. So that's kind of what pushed me to start this business.
Amazing, amazing. I appreciate all of y'all. So we've heard, that the money is a motivator, thinking about your future and what you want that to look like is a motivator. And then of course, like, what do you want to do right now? And how do you want your day-to-day little is a motivator. So taking notes, I hope y'all taking notes. These are some gems. So I'd love to know, like, who supported you? So yes, it's one thing for you to find the motivation within yourself, but then how did you, where did you find motivation outside of yourself? Any places or organizations that you might have like found along the way, or people, let us know. Oh, let's start off with Dynasty on this one. Then we'll throw to Chantel and then Jasmine.
So I mentioned this a lot, but for those who don't know, I was in and out of homeless shelters for a long period of my life, 6 years. So I had a pretty crazy upbringing. But there was one organization that like really helped me out. They're called Sketchworking Arts, located downtown. They work with homeless and street involved youth through the arts. And that organization kind of gave me my first like full-time paycheck as an artist. They taught me my first lessons on how to do workshops. Then from there, I dived into a bunch of different things. I met folks at the NIA Center. I got involved with R.I.S E, and then R.I.S E has been like a huge influence. Like they're pretty much family. R.I.S E is family at this point in time. And R.I.S E also had like a huge influence on me as well. Just the community itself, the unity, the Black empowerment, us growing into financial educators, exchanging tips about health, just a whole lot of amazing things happen when you're able to just access community. Yeah.
Fantastic. Love it. Hope some people wrote down those organizations. All fantastic, by the way. And love to hear from you, Chantel, who inspired you or motivated you, kept you going.
Thank you. So for me, when I wanted to start my business and quit my job, my husband was my biggest supporter, because I had always been independent and working, and, it took quite a bit for me to overcome, to be like, okay, I have to now rely on this person as I take this chance on myself to build my business. So when I went back to school to do my MBA and build my business at the same time, my husband held it down. We had a little boy at the time too that I had to consider, but I want him to see that, his mother is going after her dreams and living her life to the fullest, as opposed to seeing me just, beaten down and not happy and feeling stuck. So I took that risk. And family and friends, right? We need to rely on people to help with the support, especially with childcare and running around, picking him up from daycare, potentially dropping him off. And I had other friends who were entrepreneurs who I'd mastermind with on a regular basis, just so you have to have those like-minded individuals in your circle that you could bounce ideas off of when you're building. And, entrepreneurship is a roller coaster. So when things aren't going the way you want them to go, how do we overcome, to support, to share networks, and those kind of things. And finally, I joined a networking group called BNI. I'm not sure if many people are familiar with it, but that helped to get my business growing from there while I was in the building stage. And that really helped me with learning how to pitch for myself, learning how to go out there and get clients, learning how to network effectively, and also giving and sharing networks as well on a larger scale. So that was what really helped me.
Love it, love it, love it. Family support is necessary. Outside community support necessary. It really does take a village to raise all of us. Like, it doesn't even matter what industry you're in. So just, very relatable things that you're talking about. Would love to hear from you, Jasmine. How did you get here? Who helped you?
Definitely, much like Dynasty, a lot of organizations and communities. I know the first program I did was the first cohort of Black House under House founded by The Weeknd. And it was like 70 like BIPOC entrepreneurs from art to music. And it really gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I could do this. And then I did a program at R.I.S.E Toronto that's really focused on Black like talent and professionals, and just that wraparound support kind of gave me the confidence to be like, okay, I can do this. Let me, go and try to get my first contract. So shout out to like Artworks TO, shout out to Steps, Public Arts. They gave me my first contracts and kind of set me up for success.
Amazing, amazing. And this question kind of leads into what we're talking about right now. Some folks from IG. So this is your question, whoever asked this one anonymously, they wanted to know how important is mentorship, and like, what do you think mentorship is? What does it look like? Anything that comes to mind when you think about mentorship and how the importance of it. Would love to, let's go to Chantel and then Jasmine, then Dynasty.
That's a great question. Thank you for that, our anonymous IG submitter. Mentorship is extremely important. And unfortunately, I didn't have many mentors in my field specifically as business consultant because it's more of a white male dominated industry. But now that I'm in this position, I take on opportunities to mentor others who want to get into the space, let them know what it took for me, let them know what they can expect getting here, how to land clients, how to, pitch, how to do RFPs and those kind of things, because I didn't have anybody to teach me. But thank God I'm, very aware and I love to do research and I'm a go-getter. So I went and I had to figure things out and I put it together. But if I had a mentorship, then it would have saved me a lot of energy, right? It would have saved me a lot of running around and piecing things together. But I mean, somebody had to do it. So I'm here now, I'm doing it. And I look forward, I actively look for opportunities so that I can mentor others as well in this space.
Beautiful. I love it. Let's, smooth out that path. We don't all have to trip over the same branches. And, just lifting as you climb, even if you haven't been taught to do that. I love your answer, Chantel. For folks out there who are feeling like they're alone and that, no one is supporting them, know that you can support yourself up to a certain point. There's organizations like the ones that all of our panelists have mentioned, where you can find those like-minded people to help you make it, across the finish line. So let's keep all of this community stuff going. Let's get into Jasmine. Let us know about, what motivated you or how important mentorship was in your journey.
Much like Chantel, there wasn't really much mentorship to be had. I was going into a very cis male dominated space of like cryptocurrency, NFTs, even a lot of clubhouse groups I would go into, they were like all gamers and I'm just there like, all right. So I had to find a lot of the answers for myself and again, connect with community, because that was one thing I feel like just in the Black community as a whole, we don't push each other to find the answers. Like, hey, if you don't find the answer here, you can go here, you can keep searching. And that's what I had to do until I knocked on almost every door and was able to find the answers for myself. And now I'm in a position where I'm like, okay, I did it, guys. This is what you could do. But yeah, mentorship is important when you can connect with people that genuinely want to help you succeed and they don't see you as competition. So that's like, just some values to look at.
I agree. I definitely agree. Dynasty.
Yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing. I have had a couple of really good mentors, but see, they were found again through community spaces right? And it just happened to be like one person in that community space who like saw me and would put in like a little bit of extra effort into like answering my questions and stuff. But it's not like they like took me by their side and said, hey, let me show you. Like that was not really a thing. And I think that's why we're trying to make sure we do take on some mentees here and there, because like, yeah, it was pretty difficult. And the mentors that I did find, again, yeah, most of them were white males, especially in the finance world. And also they end up hitting on you, you know, like if you do take on their, you know, if you do become a mentee, it gets complicated, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, we're trying to change that.
Yes, and I'm really glad that you went there with that, because I did notice a trend happening just there. Each one of you talked about how male dominated your industry was, and how, you know, dominated by a certain race your industry was. So we have, you know, business, consulting, we have financial, as well as the NFT and like metaverse space. And then of course, all of you within this arts and entertainment space, the intersectionalities. I really want to talk about women in the art business now, like really getting into why did we choose to have a panel full of women and also Black women, because this does not happen enough. It might seem like very trending right now, especially in social media land, that, you know, Black people are it now. We are the thing that you want to support, but it wasn't always like that. We all just talked about, and I'm not even going to tell you about my experience, but I can say it mirrors these ladies as well, that didn't have a lot of mentors growing up, not a lot of people showing me my potential. And it was tough for me to identify people who could help me get to the next level when I didn't even know what the level looked like. So having folks like these who can help us to talk about the level is very important. So let's talk about it. I'd love to know about your experiences as a Black woman making it in your specific industry, or you can even go general with it, because I'm sure we all have, like, you know, a couple struggles that we can identify with and relate to. So I just want to know, like, how is it being a Black woman in your field, and what was like, you can get specific with it, but what was kind of the greatest thing that you learned about being yourself in the industry? Like, how can we maintain ourselves in the industries that we're in? Oh, let's see. Who should I ask first? I know this one's so tough. I'm going to go to Dynasty because I saw your eyebrows raised and I feel like you got a lot to say about this, sis. Come through.
Okay, so the question is like the biggest lesson
Yes.
and how it was overall. Okay, so I did have one female mentor for a short period of time. That's another thing. The ones that did come in, they didn't stay for a long period. Is like pretty short. But yes, one woman, she was extremely successful as like a manager to a bunch of different artists. She had worked for some of the top artists in the entire world right now. Like I'm talking like famous rappers, like top 5 Billboard charts. She's worked with them, right? And she told me straight up a few stories about certain celebrities that I cannot talk about right now, but she actually she said, when you're in this industry, like in the entertainment industry as a Black woman, you have to really, really watch your tone. Like there's like an extra layer of effort that is extremely annoying that we have to put in to not sound like the angry Black woman, which is like, it's annoying because you might say something and you're not even being rude, you're just being honest and it's just being blunt. You know, like you could say, this song is not the best song on your project. You know, like, I liked your project overall, but this song I wasn't really feeling that much. Even if you say it like that, for some reason, this woman told me, because like, especially if you're an attractive, like a very attractive Black woman, men have a problem like accepting that feedback from an attractive Black woman, no matter like, just because it's negative, it's not like something positive, no matter how you phrase it, a lot of them will still take it and personalize it like you're attacking their ego all of a sudden. And then it's like hard for you to get places. So she had like a few experiences where she just, she just told them like, hey, you could correct this. This could be done a little bit better, whatever. And she tried to be professional about it, or she was just blunt about it. And if they had heard it from like another male, it would have been fine. But because they heard it from her attractive Black female self, it like ruined her career, or she was like taken out of the whole experience because of it. So I found throughout my entire career, I've had to like triple check my text messages. I've had to like learn how to filter the way that I'm going to say something like 10 times before I say it, just to not be the angry Black gal. And then there comes the point where you have to say like, I don't care, I don't care, but you do have to realize that the less you care about that is the least far that you will get. You know what I'm saying? Like Oprah has finessed her words to like the level where she's got her own TV show. I'd say that is like the supreme excellence that you could get with your words as a Black woman. Okay. But the rest of us, especially, my Caribbean behind, we ain't there yet. You know what I'm saying? It's hard out here. I'm just saying.
Wow. Honestly, I'm really glad I was on mute. The whole time I was just like, because that really hit me hard, what you said, the tone. If I had $1 for every time someone checked me about my tone, I'd be a billionaire right now. And I always I don't know, I really love what you said. One of the questions, or some of the questions that I kind of lumped into that one right there was, is it really different to be a Black woman in business? Like, why do you need a Black woman business panel? And this is the reason why, like, hearing things like that can really help somebody like make or break their career, knowing that there's a way to kind of like a cheat code, if you will. And yes, maybe it takes some extra steps, like you're going like up, side, down, square, instead of like down, square, like our, counterparts, the other people who don't have to do stuff like that. But at least there is a way to kind of bypass some of those things that tend to hold us back. Because I find that for me, a breakdown is right when it hits the tone. It's like, now we're not even talking about business. We're not talking about growth anymore. We're talking about my tone, and we can't go anywhere. Like, we're stuck.
Exactly. Like what I said, was it factual or not, fam?
That's what I want to know.
Doesn't matter.
Exactly. But yet we can't move on. And you're so right. Like, thank you for bringing up, that pretty girl syndrome as well. Being like an attractive female, it really sometimes is like a hindrance. Like, I didn't come here to talk about how I got my hair like this. I don't really know about this makeup. Someone else did it for me. Like, could we talk, like, or if they qualify like your reason for being at the table, like, oh, well, Elle's pretty, so she's probably gonna have a lot to say, or like, what? How do the two equate? Like, now pressure and all these things. Like, so thank you for bringing that up. That's why we're doing this, people. Like, we need to really talk about these things, and this is our safe space to do so. So Jasmine, please let us know about your experiences being a Black woman in the industry. And yeah, let's go along that vein of like, what are some of the crazy things you've been told that you have to do to make it here?
I would say like the first one, more art specific. I was told that my art form wasn't real art. And this was not by, like, I first hit that wall among other Black artists. It wasn't like another like community. I had peers that were just like, you are not a part of the club. We're real artists, you're not. Like, and I had to kind of deal with that because at that time I was still self-conscious about my art. I'm like, will people like it? And right off the bat, I was met with, you don't belong here. We're canvas artists, you're a digital artist. And I'm like, but it takes the same amount of time. And it made me realize real quick, if I'm not confident in my artistic skill or just what I'm bringing to the table, someone will make sure to pop my balloon the minute I step in the room. So with that first example, on a broader scale now, when I go into spaces that are predominantly non-Black spaces, and I come in with my art that looks different. It's depicting Black, Indigenous people, it's bright, it's this. And those questions come out, I shut it down immediately. Like my confidence takes up the space where like, well, if you didn't know, that is an Indigenous hand drum. And they're like, oh, sorry to offend you. I'm like, yes, you should know these type of things, you know? And it came from me not being confident in my work and who I was, to then be able to go into other spaces and be like, I'm allowed to take up space. I'm allowed to be proud of the work that I do. And I don't have to cower in the corner like, well, do you like it? Are you sure you like it? No, I like it. I spent like 16 hours on it and you're gonna like look at it kind of thing. And I feel like we don't push enough Black women or even Black boys to be like, have that confidence, like stand your ground. Like, yes, I'm proud of my work and you don't have to like it, but know that it's up here for a reason. I'm displaying here for a reason. So yeah, that's what at least I learned and had to face in my field.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And just quickly before we move to Chantel, I do want to shout out Dynasty here because actually in your coaching program, Dynasty coaches like performing artists, as well as she is a phenomenal one herself. And one of the things I remember in our artist development program this summer that you said is a lot of the artists kept coming up and part of their introduction to their performance was, and I hope you like it. I hope you like this, like, as you know, to the way to end it off. And it just made me remember about that because they're so afraid to take up space. And one of the things that Dynasty said is, I love everything else you said, but chop off that I hope you like it part, because obviously they're here to watch you. You're here to take up space and to do your best. They are going to watch you. They're here, like whether they like it or not, that's like the least of your concern. You need to come here and do what you practiced, right? So I really love that. And I just had to, because it made me remember about that gem from Dynasty, like take up space, sis, or gentlemen, all of you, non-binary, everyone take up space. That's what we're here to do. Chantel, please tell us about your experiences, some, you know, adversaries that you might have met.
As I'm listening to everyone's stories, it brought out one specific memory for me. I remember when I was meeting with this potential client. It was an older Black gentleman who was referred to me. So therefore, somebody who he already knew referred him to me to help him with his business. So I help my clients with growth plans, strategic plans, business plans, help them put that together. If they're looking for financial consideration or if they're looking to pitch to investors, I help them put those things together. So he comes in and, you know, we're meeting, and just like what I explained to you, this is what I do. This is what I've done for others. Somebody referred you to me. And then he had a kind of condescending tone to the point where he was saying like, well, what can you really teach me about business? And I was just like, okay. Well, first of all, if you were doing so great, we wouldn't be here right now. Let's just start there, right? Let's just start there. Secondly, I had to list out all my credentials for him, right? I have an undergrad in business economics. I have a master in business here. I've helped people do this, that, and the third. And so the angry Black tone started to, it was activated, right? And at this point, you know, I don't even care. I don't even care at this point. I'm gonna let you know who I am. I am taking up this space, and I'll let you know what I've done for others, what I could have done for you. But after I let him know that, and I kind of checked him, he, you know, kind of sat back and checked himself. He's like, oh, okay. Well, you know, when do you think we could get started? It's like, you know, on second thoughts, I don't really think this is a good fit, and I don't think we'll be working together, but you have yourself a nice day. And that's when I realized I enjoyed what I had in terms of the power of deciding who I want to work with. I didn't have to beg for you for your business, and I wasn't going to, because if you're being this difficult now, I can only imagine what's going to happen down the line, and I'm just cutting it off right now. And that's when I was like, I did that.
I love this. Honestly, I want to say that I'm sorry that any of us have had to go through these things, but I'm really glad that what I'm going to say instead is I'm really grateful that you are sharing these things today, because it's really helping people. In the comments, I'm already seeing that, you know, people are very much relating to what is being talked about. We even have some men who are in the chat saying that even though there are men, they can relate to, you know, feeling this way, feeling small or less than, and that they feel like they need to hold other men accountable, because it really does start with other people who recognize these kind of injustices being done and someone standing up for people like us, especially if we don't feel like we have the voice inside ourselves. But I love what you said, Chantel, that, I don't know the amount of times, again, I'd be a billionaire if I had a dollar for every, I run an events and project management business with my sister, who's also a Black female. And the amount of times, I thought it was regular, people asking me to basically list my entire credentials after I already told you what my services are, and I've already shown you the people that I worked with. And now you want me to list this, or you want me to break down my quote even further, just so that you could basically nickel and dime me and see if there's a way that you can get me from 500 to 250 by telling me, oh, you don't need to do that. You don't need, basically erasing my process. And I love now being in the position to be yep, here all of it is, because you know what? I think it's important for all of us to be prepared for those questions by having all of that information ready. For once I had that experience once, now I have it ready for the next person who asks me, and I'm like, oh, you want it too? Okay, here you go, email, just send it away. But that being said, I think it's important for us to have it, but then now recognize you do have the power to decide. And don't working with somebody out of desperation, you probably are spending your energy on them when you could probably wait, use some patience, and a better opportunity will come along. Please believe in yourselves is what I'm really getting from these stories. So thank you all for sharing so much. Very, very interesting. Love where this conversation is going. I'd love to know, now that we're kind of talking about adversaries or kind of obstacles that stood in our way, I would love to know, what do you think is your greatest failure to date? Because it's in failing that we often learn so much about ourselves. We build our character, we come back stronger, and we start over from experience. So I'd love to know, what is your greatest failure to date, and what did that experience teach you? Oh, yes, I have to choose somebody. Let's go with Chantel, Jasmine, and Dynasty.
So sorry, I realize I'm on mute. So thinking about my greatest failure to date, that's okay. I would say, thinking about it, my greatest failure to date is doing business with family members without proper partnership or documentation, in order. I have done business with family members, and you're thinking they're your family, they're not going to screw you over. We're in this together. We want to see each other rise. Actually, that's not the case. So come to find out, they'll be the first ones to actually try that with you, and not having proper partnership agreements in place or contracts in place or stipulations, thinking that we can, we're family, we want to see each other rise, we're going to split it equally, this and the other. Yeah, that was one of my biggest failures. And from that point forward, I don't do any business with family unless there's documentation involved. And to be honest, I really try to avoid doing business with family at all.
That is a huge gem right there, honestly, with the documentation, and also what you said at the last part, that probably just avoiding it altogether, I find, is better. Didn't mean to rhyme there, but we're going to move on to Jasmine. Tell us, what's your biggest failure?
Guys, I would say imposter syndrome. And here's why, because it made me miss out on a big contract with a very prominent social media platform. Because I was busy oh, this is so big, I can't do this, freaking out. I spent so much time freaking out, and all they needed from me was a pitch deck and my plan. And I took so long procrastinating that they're like, you know what? We're gonna put a pause on this and maybe we'll get back to you later on. And I sat at my computer and I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? What did I just do? And from there, it taught me the biggest lesson of just and I think Tony Robbins said it one time. He's those inspirational people. And he's like, just do it. You don't have to have all the plans together. You don't have to have it all figured out. Just do it. Say yes and figure it out as you go. And that feeling of I'm not ready, even though they approached me and they're like, we like you already, I was still telling myself I wasn't ready. And even though it burned And I was like, damn. I've gotten since then more contracts with other corporations where it's like, you need those kind of hard hits to wake you up and realize like, yo, you're actually pretty dope and good opportunities are going to keep coming, but don't hesitate, just like pull the trigger kind of thing. So yeah.
Yes, the analysis paralysis. Like I will just be writing to-do lists and writing myself and kind of just, yeah, the imposter syndrome is really what's at play there. And I saw Dynasty, giving snaps to that. I'm sure you can relate. And I'd love to hear what was your greatest failure to date.
Yeah, mine's in the same boat as the imposter syndrome. I'm gonna say self-sabotage. Because yeah, like I said, like I was in and out of homeless shelters for 6 years, right? So during that time, you kind of develop a mentality like when you're living in poverty for a long time where you just feel like you're just down there and like that's your life. And your friends kind of live that life and you get used to just not having money and not being able to show up to certain places, not being able to do certain things. So I got an opportunity as an artist that would have been like really massive. Like to be honest, I think my career would have been like completely different if I had just handled it correctly. But in that opportunity, I was like just so embarrassed to say like, oh, I didn't have money for like clothes for a photo shoot that they set up for me, or I didn't have I didn't have bus fare to get to like a specific place that they wanted me to be at as on a specific day. Like it was just like so difficult and embarrassing for me that, like if I asked my family or my close friends and they didn't have it, I didn't want to ask anybody else. And I didn't want to tell them like, I literally like, I felt like too much of a burden for them to take on, not realizing that like they would have happily have helped me out if I had just opened my mouth, like that whole saying where it says like, a closed mouth doesn't get fed. Like legit, guys, like you got to drop the ego. And sometimes the ego is like, yo, I ain't got it like that. Like I need that extra help. I didn't understand what you just told me. I didn't understand this or that. Like sometimes you are the slowest person in the group or like the weakest link or whatever. And you have to be able to speak up and say like, I need some extra support because I didn't ask for these circumstances, but I went through this stuff and yeah, I'm a little bit, more to handle, but hello, can you please help me? Because I'm trying to get out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like if you open your mouth and just say it, you'll be able to get places a lot faster.
I really, really appreciate y'all for sharing like some big vulnerable moments. It's sometimes difficult, like, especially on what you just last said there, Dynasty, so difficult to use our voice for the things that we actually need. Sometimes we do use our voice, like we get angry because of the situation that we're in, or because of how embarrassed and ashamed that we are about where we're at. We don't want to say that part. So it comes out like in all these different ways that just doesn't translate to what we're actually wanting or needing. So I hope that through those failures that a lot of you can see how these women have been able to overcome. So we want to talk now about what is your greatest accomplishment to date? Like, what are you really proud of about yourself that you've been able to acquire in your industry or even in your personal life? Whatever you are most proud about, we'd love to hear about it. Starting out with Chantel, and then we can go to Dynasty and then Jasmine.
So for me, thank you for asking that question. One of my biggest accomplishments for me was completing an MBA program while building my business. I bet on myself and I won, and there's no better feeling than that, especially when programs are extremely expensive. And to be honest, I started and I had no idea how I was going to pay for this. I just had enough money for registration and to get started. And I said, you know what, God, if this is the path I'm supposed to take, just help me find a way. And I started, and then all of a sudden business started coming and I was able to pay for the program as I went along. Because remember, my husband supported me, so he was taking care of things at home. I just had to figure out how to get this done. And sure enough, when you start taking those steps on your path towards what it is that you want, things come in your way to help you get to where you're trying to go. And so that's why I say to people, you know what, take that leap, bet on yourself. You'll be so surprised at what you can achieve when you do take those steps.
super duper facts. Like the universe does conspire when you believe in yourself. It will bring everything in your way because the universe is always working out for you. Shout out to our founder, Randell, for that one, who introduced me to that little gem. Jasmine, would love to hear about your greatest accomplishment to date. What are you proud of?
Oh, my greatest accomplishment to date, I would have to see having my work displayed across the city of Toronto. And I say that to say because my beginnings, I did not want to share my art. I was afraid to. I was dealing with imposter syndrome, like no one's gonna like this. They're gonna be like, that's ugly. And Artworks TO, they helped me get my first contract with the city of Toronto. And I was so nervous. And the team that I worked with was great. And so when I finished that contract, I'm like, you know what, thank you guys so much for this opportunity. Like, I hope I can work with you again. And literally a week later, I got an email from another department at the city of Toronto, like, hey, we have another contract for you. I'm like, oh, okay. And while I was still doing the second contract, I got a third contract. And I was like, oh, damn, wow, okay. And now looking back on just how it happened and getting to finally meet a lot of the people that helped me and kept referring me for contracts in person, and then seeing my art. Right now, they're displayed at over 15 social services offices across the GTA, and going in person and seeing my murals on the wall, and people just being like, "Whoa!" Every day I come to work, I get to see that. I'm like, awesome. And it's a full circle moment because I'm someone that started from, I'm never going to share my work. It's just going to be for me. And I would say, even though it's a big achievement, I feel like, okay, like, how do I top this? How do I do something else? How do I bring other people along so they can experience this too? Because I'm not the only artist that has good work out here. So yeah, I would say that's my biggest achievement to date.
Love it. That is a pretty huge. Love like the progression of that. And it just really goes to show like that momentum that Chantel just mentioned, that, once you start opening yourself up to these opportunities, start believing in yourself, they just start lining up. It's like, bowling pins, and then it's just ready for you to knock it down. So really happy to hear about that. And Dynasty, if you'd let us know, what's your greatest accomplishment?
I'd say my biggest accomplishments were achieved last year. I challenged myself to finally take some of the crazy like skits and coaching lessons and stuff like that I had in my head and that I did at these little workshops and stuff, and actually put them into like skits and scenarios and like, coaching videos online. And as soon as I actually started doing that consistently, it took off, like the hundreds of thousands of views. And I was like, yo, hold on. I could have been doing this whole time. Like, I know people have been telling me, but like, I just like, yeah, for some reason, guys, originally I was very shy. Okay. I was very shy as a kid. I've like slowly like forced myself to not be shy. But I'm telling you, I was terrified, and I have to still talk myself into being in spaces where I'm around a bunch of people or speaking to a bunch of people, okay? My sister just kept pushing me to just take some of the crazy stuff that I was doing at home and actually just put them online. And now that when I did it and it started to do well for me, I was just kind of blown away at the fact that like, I finally did it, like I actually pushed myself to put myself out there in that way. Yeah, it's a big deal, but I'm excited for what's going to happen this year, this being a part of all of our growth.
Yes. And I am actually a big fan of your videos. And really, I didn't know about, that you were shy to do them and all of those kind of things, because you would never guess that Dynasty would be shy. And the thing I really love that you've just revealed that about yourself, because I'm sure there's a lot of people out here who they've seen you, done the place, but they didn't know that Dynasty was also shy and has to talk to herself, to be in the space. Like that is something that I do too. A lot of people ask me like, oh, you're so confident, or like, how do you just get up there and do that? I'm like, it's a lot of self-talk. You don't know what's going on inside my head. I'm like trying to fight the demons, trying to get the demons to stop talking to me, trying to smile at the same time and perform. So kudos to everyone who's out there, you know, fighting those demons and still getting up there and doing it scared, because that means you're brave. That's what I learned, that's what brave means, doing it scared. So keep being brave. And I'd love to know now that you revealed that little tidbit, and I'm sure some people didn't know, I'd like to know one thing, maybe two things about each of you that you don't think the public knows, and maybe might even challenge what they think about you. Like right now, everyone is thinking strong, beautiful Black women who are in art business, who help other artists, who help themselves, help their community. They're thinking you're up here right now. Now, it's not that we want to bring you down here, but we just want to, you know, like we're going to level out the playing field. We just want all of you out there to know that it takes a lot to be up here, but it's not impossible. So that's really what I want to get out of this, that, you know, there's probably some things that they're scared of too, that you're scared of, and they're still here. So would love to know from Dynasty, or actually, no, we'll go with Jasmine. I'd love to know, you know, something that people don't really know about you that might challenge the idea that they're going to have of you today. Then Chantel, and then we'll go back to Dynasty.
I guess two things. A lot of people, well, some people know, but a lot of people may not know that I suffer with severe anxiety and sometimes seasonal depression, but mostly anxiety. So I could be really excited about something and then be overwhelmed at the same time and just be like, oh, and both feelings are happening at the same time. And then I find myself sitting there procrastinating, but feeling both excited and terrified at the same time. And many times, like I said before, I've missed opportunities because I took so long being like, this is so big. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Okay, I'm so excited. And then boom, timeline's done, deadline's gone, and I have to go on to the next thing. And I would say the second thing, many times, I think in my life, a lot of people think I have everything together and organized. And many times I'm just shooting the breeze. I'm just like, let's just shoot at this and see if it sticks. And if it does, let's go. And I feel like not enough people take their time to like, just try, just throw it at the wall. If it sticks, cool, like run with it, try it. And if it doesn't, okay, let's try another route. And so that's why I always say, like, everything I've done, it's been unconventional, and many times just being like, let me just try this way, because I don't see a lot of people swimming that way. And many times it works. So yeah.
Love those. Definitely can relate. And we had some folks throw up some hearts in the comments as well. Someone just said that, Jasmine, your energy is contagious. And yes, sometimes you surprise yourself, was the other comment. So would love to hear from you, Chantel. What's something people don't know about you? It's probably going to challenge their thoughts about you right now.
That I'm actually a really big softie. Honestly, like when they meet me, or if I'm in business, I will come across, hard, maybe a little bit aggressive, maybe, but life kind of puts those layers onto you. And it's really because I'm protecting myself, because I really am very emotional. I'm very sentimental, and I have a very soft center. So when meeting me, no one would really think that about me when you meet me, but those who are close to me, or those, in my family and my husband, know that I am really a soft and sentimental person on the inside.
I love that, because yes, that definitely challenges that angry Black woman, strong Black woman narrative, that we have it all together and that we never cry and nothing ever hurts us. But all of those things are not true. Of course we can be these powerful women, but a lot of us have these soft centers. And, for you, Chantel, maybe your husband's one of the only people that gets to see it often, but what we're telling you right now is, think about this when you're approaching women like this from now on, to know that we are truly human beings inside. And we're also out here trying to make something stick on the wall, So love that. I just want to read this comment before we go to you, Dynasty, about someone else who related to what you said, Jasmine, that Malachi says they suffer from the same anxiety and depression, and they feel like when they're not alone, that they feel more happy, and that being around people also helps them to be able to overcome some of those feelings. You know, it's like they feel like being alone is better, but actually being around people is the key to helping you to like overcome some of these anxieties. Sometimes it really is about you just getting outside of your head. You need to like bounce these ideas off on other people so they can help reflect back to you that, oh, actually, I think you're all right, because I'm thinking that too. And we're both going through, you know, similar things. So really, really helps to talk to someone. We do have resources. I do want to make people aware of some resources through R.I.S E. You can go in our link tree and check that out. Some mental health resources, because we all go through it. And Dynasty, I know you have some things to drop here, some other things about what do people not know about the Dyna?
I'm low-key like a huge anime nerd, and in my free time, that is all I'm doing. Every time I eat a meal, it's me and anime. I love to cook and then just sit down and watch anime. That's it. A lot of my inspiration comes from that, I'm not gonna lie, for my songs and artwork and a lot of things.
Wow. And I like that. I like that. Do we have any more anime fans in the house? I'm a huge anime fan, and I love the lessons that are like, I don't know, it's just super profound the way that they formulate these world problems. And I could see why I'm going to watch more anime so I can write songs like Dynasty. Okay. And actually, someone just asked real quick, what anime, let's say what anime last inspired like your last, you know, musical piece or artistic piece?
Okay, there's one I love to death that I just finished watching. Is called Kingdom. The song that I wrote is not out yet, but it's pretty much like all just like ancient Chinese like war strategies. And I'm telling you, man, strategy across the board. Like if you study war, you'll be able to like strategize through life, through business, through everything. So it's just like all in that one anime. It's freaking amazing. The artwork is incredible. Like guys, it's just brilliant. Go check it out, Kingdom. Okay, just saying.
Yes.
If more of us watch it, they will print it in English. So go watch it. Thank you.
Yes, you are right. I've seen it happen. Let's get
exactly.
Kingdom in English. Let's go, y'all.
Yeah.
Until then, check out the dubs, because you know you can learn some things. All right, thank you so much for letting us know a little bit more about you. I think, you know, I've learned more about you, all of you here today. And I would like to just talk about, just kind of go into some more of our specific questions for our panelists here today. And then in about maybe in about 5 to 10 minutes, we're going to move into our audience questions. We are getting close, I cannot believe it, to the end of this conversation. So make sure you get in your last minute questions. Until then, I'm going to first go to Chantel. This is just a specific question that we had for you. And if anyone else does want to speak to this question, feel free, because you probably will relate to these as well. So we'd love to know, you know, we've heard about your journey, that you were once working in an industry where you were, you know, had some managerial responsibilities, things like that, but you weren't your own boss, or you weren't your own CEO. So we want to know, what does it mean to be the CEO of your own company, and how do you balance your work and life in this industry?
So for me, what it means is freedom. I have the freedom to choose what type of work that I do with others. I have the freedom to choose how much time I want to spend. I have the freedom to choose when I want to be off, or, you know, whether I want to work a lot. Just having that freedom to choose, which not many people really have, especially if you're working for an organization or a corporation that, you know, they don't allow you to do that. So that for me is the biggest thing. If I feel like I need more rest, then I need more rest, because sometimes you do. A company will just grind you out. They feel that they're paying you this amount of money and they're gonna rinse your spirit for that. And I don't have to subscribe to that. And it gives me that freedom. And for the second part is, how do I balance my work and my life in this industry? I would not be able to do what I'm doing without the support from my family, my friends, and my team. I have a team that works with me, 6 individuals that support what it is that we do. And I couldn't do all of the work and all of the amazing things that I do for my clients without them. So shout out to my team for sure. And like when we were setting up, I'm like, can you hear my baby? Do you hear my baby crying? My mom is here helping me, right, with the baby, because I have work to do. And it really does take a village. It takes a community to really create the success that I want, because it's not just my success, it's all of our success. So I really share it and spread it around with those who are close to me and help me to get where I am today.
Thank you so much for all. Exactly. Shout out to the village, says Anastasia, and to everyone that gets us to where we are. That is huge facts. Thank you so much, Chantel. And I am going to ask you one other question, so you're not done yet. I would love to know from you. So your company's slogan is turning passion into profit. And I'd love to know, like, how do you do this for artists? Like, for any artists that might be wanting to work with the consultant, what stage do they need to be at? Give us like a little rundown of how you work with clients in this industry.
So they could be in the beginning stage, or they could have already started their business and looking to grow their business and need some assistance with that. So anywhere from the beginning to the growth phase. And I help them to understand that their art is a business and should be structured as such from the beginning, right? So you have to understand your target market and who you're catering your business to, understand your revenue and your costs. Not many people like to go into the numbers, but the numbers are very important. How do you manage your costs? Where's your business coming from? How much revenue did you make last year? How can you increase your revenue this year if that's what you're looking to do? Also, your business operations. And that's like the back end things, the administration, the day-to-day activities. What is it like when a client engages with you? How long does the process take, your creative process? When are you going to give them the final deliverable? How do you package that? How do you know if your customers are satisfied? What kind of systems do you have in place for customer satisfaction? Those kind of things, the things that they may not be thinking about in that regard. And also, when you think of when people think of business failures, they always think that potentially the business wasn't making enough revenue. Not necessarily. Maybe your business just exploded with so much growth and you didn't have systems in place to handle that. And now you don't know what to do. So helping you understand that what your business will look like if you had 10 customers or 1,000 customers, let's put these systems in place now so that when you do get that growth that you're looking for, you have everything in place to handle that.
Love that. The chat went crazy, on some of those points. I think you're going to have a few more calls, Chantel. We'll definitely be dropping Chantel's socials because I do want to say, like, Randell was the one who recommended you. And if you have seen Randell's growth, then you know that this is one of the fabulous females behind that growth. So I'm just saying, yes, people are going to be calling you now. I'm sorry, I had to put you on blast. Let's get this woman more business. Yes, flowers and applause, because you have done some great work. And I'm looking forward to, connecting with you even further about this. All right, so we're going to move on, get a little bit intimate and interactive with Jasmine. So Jasmine, you said some things today, and I know that I've had a chance to see some of your work and your growth as well. And you call yourself a serial entrepreneur and also an Afro-Indigenous hippie. And I would love to know what those titles mean to you. When did you start calling yourself that? And does that influence the way you do business in this world?
So I'll start with Afro-Indigenous hippie. So my identity, I do belong to a First Nations community, the Arawak-Tiano First Nations, and my family is Indigenous to South America and still lives off the land. And a lot of that identity, I think, was me kind of stepping into my own around 25. And I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm embracing both sides of me. I'm Black, I'm Indigenous, and I'm this free spirit. I'm like this hippie. And like my day-to-day dress, I dress in like full color. Like today is an exception, I'm wearing Black, but flower power, all that kind of stuff. And it was simply because it was a way of me coping with depression and being like, you know what? Some days I don't feel great. But if I dressed the part and I feel good and I'm surrounding myself with the right energy, I can accomplish things. So that was my go-to phrase that I live by. And of course, it's infused into my work, from making 2D animation, storytelling, murals. It's bright, it's funky, it's psychedelic. And in regards to serial artpreneur, I know in my bio I wrote, I'm just like, I want to change the term struggling artists to like six-figure artists. And I feel like for years, we've only been conditioned, there's only one way to make money doing art. And I beg to differ. And I've tested it, I've tried it, and there's many other ways to grow your art from just being at home and doing it as a hobby and actually making money and traveling the world. So yeah, so I live by both of those and made into a business and my life mantra, basically.
Love that, love that, love that. All of the phrases definitely can relate. And we can see, or even just hear, you know, through today, you didn't seem to have the typical or the traditional route to becoming a woman in the art business. But now you're a speaker, you're an educator, you're a creator. And I would just love to know what helped you to make the decision to break into these roles, and did any of like your background, like your educational background, come into play? Like, I just want to know about how you were able to transfer your skills to the art business.
So I would say for a long time, I worked with like nonprofits in the social sector, from doing like youth programming, working like in Chalk Farm, full staff, and then moving to working like in different communities like Malvern. So I was always a part of community and always trying to find a way of learning, how do nonprofits work? How do they invest in art? How do they invest in young people? And can I actually build a career off of working with organizations? And so it kind of pushed me into like a speaking space. And then I was just like, you know what, I do have stuff to say because I've collected a lot of knowledge. And I think now just gradually as I continue to work and like I said, just shoot stuff at the wall, like, okay, I'm going to try this project and let's see if it works. Okay, let's build from there. And people see me basically build my castle, come over and be like, hey, can we talk to you about how you're building this? I'm like, yeah, sure. And that's kind of how my skills of just bringing what I like to do anyway, which is talk and really help people, and me really creating just different things out of nothing, kind of blended nicely. But my schooling, I went to school for business and psychology, which is kind of like, ooh, over there. But it has helped me to create communities and connect people from different parts of my life that still support me today. So yeah.
Amazing. I love it. We had some questions from the audience. I kind of smushed it in there. I hope I answered your questions about, you know, they asked about like transmuting your energy and being able to like use the skills that you have and truly being an alchemist, which is like making something out of nothing, or turning, you know, an item that is like, let's say, lead into gold. It's like true alchemy. And you can do that in your real life by recognizing like the skills and talents you have. You know, even if you've learned about psychology, that does help you, like Jasmine said, to be able to understand people, their behaviors, build communities. Like, so if you're doing something right now that you don't think relates to what you see yourself doing in the future, I would implore you today to think about, you know, what are the skills that you already have and how can that translate to what you want to be? And if you need help, as Jasmine just said, she now does help people with understanding that about themselves. She coaches them. So Chantel, as well as Jasmine, are two individuals that you now know that can help you take your art business to the next level. So that's why we're doing this. That's why we're doing this. Going into you, Dynasty, I'd really love to know, because I know that the majority of the people that are out here tonight, hello, virtual land, hi, everyone, are emerging artists who want to be able to perform and who truly actually want to be able to make money while making art. So I'd love to hear from you. Can you tell us about some revenue streams that you have found that have helped you to make money beyond the stage and behind the screen?
So right now, I think it's just important to be extremely creative with your money, like as creative as you are with your music and your art and whatnot. You need to also just be with your money. Like right now, coming to a panel like this, great job. You know, like showing up into places that might be a little bit different, a little bit outside of your comfort zone, going out of your way a little bit to get access to more information is going to help you the most, I'd say, because then you can get access to a lot of information that you just didn't know about before. I can't list anything specific because the world is changing so quickly, especially like if you're paying attention right now with the recession and like the value of our dollar going down so quickly, and then all the craziness that's happening with crypto, and the banks trying to come in and manage everything. It's there's a lot of changes happening very quickly, and I cannot predict. No one can 100% predict what's going to happen. So you kind of just need to be in a bunch of different places at one time. But I will say that like diversifying your income is extremely important, which means you have to diversify your knowledge as well. So just like when you hear little things, like if you don't know about NFTs, hit up Jasmine. Okay, she just mentioned it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you hear about, insurance, like you can hit me up. You know what I'm saying? Like as a way to grow your money, like hit me up. If you hear little things, just little things like, oh, this type of stock, this whatever. Whenever you have free time, guys, like especially right now with there being so much craziness and so many changes happening at once, just try your best to like hop on YouTube, hop into the spaces like this and go talk to people about different types of investments, because you just want to get the information and then you decide for yourself where you want to put your money. So like, I would say like, yeah, as far as income producing things and then also learning what to do with that income, just get the information first and then sit down with yourself and realize, like, think to yourself, like, how can I diversify my options right now? Like where do I feel like I would get the most information, like the best information and the way that I need it? And then where can I make the most money, or the like what seems to like click for me for ways that I could make money? And then how can I diversify that? And if you don't have the answers to those questions, who can you talk to that might be able to provide some of those answers? What YouTube channels could you follow that could provide those answers? What spaces could you get into where you could learn a bit more? Right now, the world's too crazy for you guys not to be paying attention. I'm so serious. Like, I'm trying to talk to y'all. There's so many changes happening, fam, that you cannot afford not to pay attention to what's going on in the world. Even if you've never had money before, you've never had like started a business, you never did any of this stuff, you don't know anything about crypto, NFTs, whatever. The world is too crazy right now for you guys not to start paying attention. Okay, so if you're not in like that knowledge at all, just start connecting with people who can help to provide that information for you, and just pick up tidbits so that you know that you have options for yourself. Okay, and then diversify. Don't ever throw all your eggs into one basket, whether it's for income or for how you're like where you're putting your money. Like I would never say invest all of your money with me. I might say, here, bring some over here, maybe try Jasmine, maybe buy some assets, maybe, like, damn, we don't have time. Okay, it's all a gamble right now. So just like try and get the info and then spread out. Okay. And also don't be afraid of trying new things, and don't be afraid of stepping outside of just music, because I'm sorry, this is not the time to just be relying on the arts. I'm so serious. I don't do it. And I'm gonna let you know, there were times in my life where I definitely did just rely on music, and it screwed me over. Okay, screwed me over. And right now, because things are so crazy, you can't afford to be screwed over on that level. So think to yourself, what are other things that I like to do, that I could generate income for me? Maybe you start a trade, maybe you like learn a bit more about a specific business or something. Just start opening up your mind and get creative, okay? And taking the info and do what you can, okay? Connect with people who know more than you and get in those spaces and be uncomfortable all the time. There we go.
Like that, honestly, that needs to be a book. That whole entire, like that, well said. Everything that you just said, super real. people are very much relating, especially this is not the time to only rely on the arts. Like that
No.
was a huge factor. And I'd love to hear from you, Dynasty, because you are definitely a great example of an artist who has been able to diversify or spread out like the different things that you're about. You let us know that today you do insurance, financial, like you're in the financial industry. I also saw that you're a chef as well. We got to talk because I want some of those meals. So I'd love to know, like, how did you break into those different industries? Like, when did you decide as an artist, oh, I'm also going to do financial and I'm also going to actually turn my cooking passion into a business?
It kind of like, you kind of just want to see like the things that you like and then figure out like where the gaps are, because the gaps are where the money is made, you know? So wherever there's a space where like there's a bit of a need, you set yourself up in that space to be able to like fulfill that need. Like, for example, me and my family, during the pandemic, we started a sea moss and herbal tea business, right? So a lot of the recipes and stuff that I put together, like I would fling different herbs into food. Like just for the past decade, I've just been like obsessed with herbs, like, you know, just in general. So I know certain herbs do specific things, right? So during the pandemic, I just saw a lot of people getting sick, but it wasn't actually COVID, you know? And then they would get terrified and they'd still like be in their house and stuff like that. I'd be like, you know what? If you just did this herb with that herb and you'd be fine, right? And then they would, like, a lot of friends and family were just coming to me, just be like, can you just make a little something for me? And I would do it. And then I was like, wait, hold on a second. There's an opportunity here. What if I start to like bottle and sell and think, you know? So it became like a whole like delivery business for me over the pandemic. And it's like, we're actually building now to, you know, excel that. Chantel, we gotta talk, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it's like, it's crazy, but you really just gotta find those blades and like think about things that you're already passionate about and already good at, and then just like, you know, dive into those a bit more. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love that answer, because what I hear from Dynasty there is that there's no one way to do this. Like the way that Dynasty did it, the way that Jasmine did it, the way that Chantel did it is not going to be the way that you might do it out there. But the information, like the goal is still the same, that you want to try to diversify and spread yourself out, spread out your talents, figure out what you're good at, and connect with people. If you don't know how to do that, who can help to get you there? So one of the questions, we kept getting this question a lot in different formats. So I'm asking it in one way, that's what I'm letting the audience know, is about mentorship. Everybody seems to want to know, okay, now that you told me all this great stuff, and I know that I could probably connect with you on Instagram, you know, Jasmine, Dynasty, and Chantel, because we dropped that for y'all, but what is the best way, do you think, to approach somebody for mentorship, like, or for help when, you know, now that you figured it out, okay, I know that I want to be a journalist. That's going to be my side hustle. I'm going to do interviews. How do I go about, what's my next step? Like, let's just talk about the very next step. You know, the next thing you want to do, but you don't really know how to get there. How are you going to do that ask? Let us know, Jasmine, Chantel, and then Dynasty.
Like you said, Elle, a lot of what I do now, and I started a few years ago, I started a series called What the Hack. And it was really educating people that were so stuck in their industry, like there's just only one way I can do this, and teaching them how to, like Dynasty said, diversify their streams of income and think outside of just what their one dominant skill was. And I did a lot of talks, a lot of spaces, and I would just donate hours. I'll be like, okay, after the talk, I'll be like, hey, whoever wants to jump and just like shoot the breeze on a Zoom, until I started to get overwhelmed. I'm like, oh, okay, there's a lot of people that are like, help me. And now for me, I understand that the quality of community, and even as people like in our position of donating time to just even an hour to hear someone out and help them unscramble their brain and give them some sort of blueprint, like, okay, go away, try this, look at this better, and come back and let's reconnect. in a month or two, and it speaks volumes. And so with that being said, my books will be open for the end of February. I'm taking on mentorship, and basically it will be helping people to really streamline their money-making skills and what they can literally make money with tomorrow, and then providing them with resources on how to support that, whether it be grants or connections that I may know, or even a collaboration. So yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. Make sure y'all follow these ladies because they do talks. Like I see them do talks all over the place. So another good thing is to follow the people that you want to be like and go in the spaces where they are. And you start to just learn more as you just put yourself in those spaces about what you need to do for the next step. So Chantel, please tell us, you know, how do you think is the best way to go about gaining mentorship or assistance?
So for me, I mentor through, like you said, doing workshops. I will host workshops for different organizations. The Jean Augustine Center for Young Women's Empowerment is somewhere that I do workshops. I also do workshops through Pitch Better. It's a research company that helps Black female entrepreneurs around the city and help them build their businesses. So I'll do workshops through them. And I'll go to different organizations and speak about what it is that I do and help mentor young, especially young women in the space and help them put together businesses. Additionally, my company, we take on interns every now and again. So we'll work with different programs at different post-secondary institutions. And maybe you need credit for your course, you'll come and work as an intern, or even if you're just not even in school. And that's how we actually got our first team member. Is she wasn't in school and it was just at the beginning of the pandemic, she's like, I just don't want to be idle. And can I come and just work with your company for a couple months just to learn some things? And she worked with us for a couple months, and we do pay an honorarium. So it may not be like an hourly wage, but after a certain amount of time, we'll give you a lump sum of money for working with us. So not only are you learning, but you get some money at the end of it as well. And you're able to come and see exactly how we work and how we function and how we process. And not only are you getting information from us, but we're getting help too in our business. And it works both ways. So you're learning something, you're getting access to our resources, you get to work with clients. And we don't just make them do grunt work. There's no real grunt work in our business. We'll be like, okay, we're having this client meeting, and we'll pull you in. And all of a sudden you're sitting there, you're like, oh my God, I'm in a client meeting. And yeah, well, how else are you going to learn unless we throw you in there? Be like, and then we ask you, what is it that you want to do? Where do you see yourself in a year or two? What do you want more of? And they'll be like, I want to take on more project management. Okay, say less. So this is the project we have, get to managing. Here's, and we put you to it, because a lot of times you go and you apply for these jobs and you may not get it because they're like, well, what's the experience that you have? So we're helping them to gain that kind of experience, right? Real hands-on experience, so that you can go out there and be like, I've done this, and I've done that. It's not just all academic work. So that's how we do it.
Love it, love it, love it. And we have provided your socials. A couple of people were asking. These are the ways, putting yourself in the way to be able to be blessed. Like I heard a long time ago that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And ever since I heard that, I always think about preparing myself for the opportunity to be lucky. So yes, maybe it's going to be that this opportunity is only going to come because I decided to get up early this morning and make sure that I, got to my internship for Chantel. And then she put me in that big meeting, and that person saw me, and now I have blown up. Like this is the way. We hear these stories all the time. We don't think it can happen to us, but showing up is the only way to be sure of whether that's going to happen for you or not. So show up and see what happens is like my little gem that I want to drop. I'd love for Dynasty to get the final word in here about how do you go about asking for help, mentorship, and being able to take that next step.
I'd say it's easier to get a mentor when you've been seen by that person before, so let's say, for example, like, I don't know, you're an artist and you're trying to get somebody who's further along in the artistry to mentor you. Just make sure that they've seen you like perform, or just came across your work or something like that. Like you might have to do a little bit of extra work, extra snooping to make that happen, but it's just better if they've seen you before, like they recognize you, It just makes it easier for them to like pay attention to you when you send an email or you DM them or something like that. They'll be like, oh, I met this person before. This other person referred me to their music or spoke about them in my presence. Like, just try to find like mutual friends or events that maybe they're speaking at that you can like show up to and like talk to them one-on-one or something like that. I find in person just makes it a lot easier than if you just like cold call or like, send a cold email where they don't know you at all. Like we get extremely busy ourselves, and emails can pile up and there's just hits a point where you stop answering it unless the person, so like I always used to judge people who did that and be like, how'd you let your inbox get to like 700 emails? And then now I'm there and I'm like, I get it. So just saying, like, if you find a way to stand out first, then they'll remember you. And then also nudge them, like don't be afraid to like email or message or DM more than once. And voice notes and stuff work better than just like a text or a generic email. Okay, like try to personalize it. And yeah, don't be too pushy, just nudges, not like everyday harassment. Yeah.
Yes, there's a big difference.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, but I really love what you said, Dynasty, because just to like finalize or like sum up what we're trying to say here is that it's very important to be seen and take up space. And now spaces are being created for people that look like me. Today, we honored and we spoke to Black female women who are in the art business, women who help other artists to become like professional artists, women who are professional artists themselves. And we hope that you see yourself in these individuals and that you now believe that you do have like the power and what it takes to be able to take yourself to the next level. And if you're still feeling uncertain, then do not worry, because we are giving you more opportunities through R.I.S E. So R.I.S E is a platform that is built, to bridge the gap between emerging and professional artists. So this is why we do this summit. Today was day one. I really, really want to thank Jasmine Swimmer. If you're in the comments, you're in the chat, throw up your gems, throw up, the emoji that makes you think of Jasmine. And then I really want to thank Chantel Kwao, because you have dropped some immense gems. And I know there's going to be people who have learned so much from what you have taught today. And Dynasty, you're day one, you're a vet fam. You have been doing this. You have been one of those, I think, like just prime examples, like a winning example of what it really takes. Like Dynasty has shared with us, she went from being homeless to now being able to help other artists like escape these kind of realities that they have. Dynasty has a fantastic coaching business. We often call Dynasty anytime we can, honestly, if she's not busy, we're like, can you do this? Please come through and please drop your wisdom. Thank you for being here today. Really, really appreciate everything that you have done for R.I.S E, the way that you all put on for us, before, after the summit. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And before we get out of here, everyone, we are a little bit over time, but that's because the convo was just so amazing. And look at these ladies still staying on the line. Appreciate y'all. Just want to say that this is only day one of the Edutainment Summit. We still have day 2 and day 3. Day 2 is going to be starting tomorrow at 6 p.m. We are going to be at 918 Bathurst in person with Charmaine and Rich Kid. And similar to this conversation, except it will be in person, we will be learning all about their journey and what it took to become to go from emerging to professional in their art business. So you don't want to miss that. There's still tickets available on Eventbrite. We're dropping it in the chat right now. Make sure that you tell a friend to tell a friend, even if you cannot be there. Please get somebody to go in your place. That's another way to be able to like build this village and collaborate with others. Someone asked in the chat if collaboration is necessary. I know I didn't ask the ladies, but I hope you understand from what they're saying, it's necessary. You definitely want to be collaborating, getting out there into the community, asking these questions. Thank you for your vulnerability tonight, asking these questions as well, audience. And then day 3 is our big summit day. That's going to wrap up everything. We're going to be starting out with workshops. We still have some workshops. Someone else asked in the chat about NFTs and how to get into that. Jasmine, we didn't get to that one. They can definitely DM Jasmine on the side. Remember, nudging, not daily harassment in the DMs, but just saying that if you didn't get to ask or learn about NFTs tonight, then we still have spaces in our NFT workshop. It's teaching artists on Saturday in the afternoon all about using your art in the metaverse and how to make money and how to be seen in that space. So there's still some spaces open. I think we have one more for sync licensing, which is another way that you can make money with your art beyond the stage. So please check those out. Go to our Eventbrite for that. And then we will be wrapping up our summit with 2 more events, 1 more panel about making money in poetry. And you know that we have Randall Ajay, who is the poet laureate. He is a fantastic source to tell us how to do this, as well as we'll be joined by 5 other amazing poets in their own right. And then finally, this is a new thing to the summit. We will be having a showcase that is headlined by Havaya Mighty. Also, her sister Omega Mighty will also be backing her up, as well as Everything Ocean. We have a number of artists that have come through our artist development programs. Havaya started out in our open mics. I'm just saying she's another winning example. Now she's a Juno Award winner. She's nominated for a BET Award. These are the kind of people that we want you to be able to come in contact with at the Edutainment Summit. So make sure you come out, show up. That's the only way you're going to be able to prepare for the opportunity to get lucky. All right, y'all. So that's all that we have for you today. Thank you so much for coming out to day 1 of the summit. This video can be shared. Please, if you found a gem in here today, you need to tell someone about it. And before you go, please fill out our poll. Thank you so much to my team, Jason, Anastasia, and Vanessa, who are here with me today. Please fill out our poll. Let us know about how you felt about the summit if you're here with us in the Zoom. Let us know, how you found out about this. We want to be able to provide this more and more and more. And we can only do that by getting your feedback. So we can give it to the funders, and then they can help us to be able to provide this platform. So thank you again for being here tonight. This is a beautiful, iconic moment. We are about to go back in person tomorrow at 918 Bathurst. Peace and blessings, y'all. We're going to let some folks wrap up in the Zoom, and we will see you soon. Goodbye, YouTube.